First of all, good morning, and I would like very much to thank my hosts for inviting me. But before I do that, I would like to express a deep appreciation for two of my Swedish colleagues at the University of Gothenburg. For more than 20 years, I have been working by email, by visits with my colleagues in Gothenburg, and I would like to pay tribute to Dr. Gunni Charby at the University of Gothenburg. I don't know how many of you will remember Gunni, but we began our work 25 years ago observing young children in the preschool. And it's always been exciting, and I've taken back to England very good ideas from all the work that I have done here, and also to Ingrid Pramling, Stephen Samuelson, who has now leading early childhood research in the University of Gothenburg. So thank you very much, and I'm sure it's because of my Gothenburg colleagues that I've been invited to come to Stockholm today. So thank you very much. I will talk today about a very large-scale study in England looking into the long-term effects of early education. But first, I will acknowledge my colleagues, some at the University of Oxford with me, and some at the Institute of Education in London. We are a team of 5 people, and we've worked together for more than 15 years, studying the progress of children who we began to study when they were just 3 years old. The themes in today's presentation will be the effects of preschool education, need my glasses, on children's intellectual and social behavioral development. Today, I will talk about the effects of preschool education on children's development when they were 11 years old. We have published just last month, Ingrid, I haven't shared it with you yet, we have now published the effects of preschool education on children at the age of 14. But I think I'll just stay today with the primary effects. I also will look very, very briefly of the effects on children's development of their learning at home. And I will end by discussing the contribution of the quality of the preschool on children's learning how to learn. And learning how to learn is a theme that Swedish researchers have been studying for, I think, 20 years now. It is the real question: how do we not just teach facts or skills or the letter A, B, C? How do we really nurture children and develop the capacity for them to learn on their own as independent learners? And I'll end with a discussion about how preschool quality is the key for helping children to learn how to learn. Is this the right pace? Yeah? Okay. Because I know for many of you, English is your second language, and I am sorry, I know Swedish. Okay. The EPI project uses, in educational research methodology, an educational effectiveness design, and that is we study children as they are naturally developing. It's not an experiment. We're not intervening. We're studying the natural development of children to see which kinds of experiences lead to which outcomes in the future. So we're looking at preschool attendance, and we say in England this means going to any old preschool. It doesn't matter. It could be good. It could be bad. It's just attending. But we also study the effect of quality. And here it's not any old preschool. It's a preschool with a certain curriculum or a certain pedagogy. And we have found that the quality of the preschool is the biggest factor in influencing the success of young learners. So the EPI sample is in England. 5 regions were, can everybody see? Yeah. Were selected. These are wealthy regions, poor regions. One of the regions had very high percentage of immigrant families. We have rich children, poor children, and there are 2,800 children randomly selected from 141 randomly selected preschools. We were very keen that we would be able to generalize the findings of this project to rich children, poor children, immigrant children, boys, girls, so that the sample was deliberately drawn to be representative. We have 305 children who stayed at home, and that's in some sense, the control group. These are children very similar to the preschool children, but they have stayed at home. So we need to have many, many more children than many studies in Sweden, because we are a multicultural nation. We have very complicated communities, and we wanted to be able to generalize to all communities in England. We also have children who have special needs in our sample, so we really needed a large study. The EPI project, Effective Provision of Preschool and Primary Education, has been replicated. The study was replicated in Northern Ireland, which is, of course, another nation in the United Kingdom, and the findings are very, very similar. So we have several arguments for generalization. One is the large sample in England, the representative nature of the sample, but the other is a replication in another country in the United Kingdom. And so we have two kinds of generalization strength. One is replication, and the other is through the sampling itself. So the quantitative methods, which is the quantitative trajectory using test scores on children, using rating scales that teachers have filled out, and that quantitative element is led by my colleague Pam Salmons at the University of Oxford. The qualitative aspect of EPI, because our study is a mixed method study, we use quantitative methods, we use qualitative methods, has been led by Iram Siraj Blatchford. Now, this is the design of, and as I go through the design of EPI, how we sampled our children and our families and how we studied them, I will also explain the preschool education system, yes, in the United Kingdom. So the children came into our study when they were age 3, and in the United Kingdom, it is free for children to go to preschool for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's free. So the children were 3 and 5. However, in the EPI study, the law had not yet been passed, making it free. This was not passed until 2002. So the EPI children who were born around 2000, they were not born at a time when it was free. So that's why we were able to recruit a control group who stayed at home. It would be impossible now to do this study because it's free. But so these children, 2,800 of them, went to preschool. The children in the blue at the bottom are our home group. And these children, some of them lived in very rural areas, some of them came from large families where the parents just kept them at home. We then studied the children when we assessed them when they were 3, and these are the various kinds of preschool. We don't have one kind of preschool in the United Kingdom. We have nursery classes for children who are 3 and 4, and these are attached to the primary school. We have nursery schools which are independent. Some of these schools would be Montessori or Waldorf. I'm sure that you will know what these schools are. We had some which were preschools run by the parents. This would be in a community. The parents are running the school and they get state funding from the government to run the school. Some of these children were in daycare centers where the parents took them at 8 o'clock in the morning and they went home at 6 o'clock at night. So many, many different kinds of preschool. And the UK government funded our study because they wanted to find out, is going to preschool education really making a difference in children's lives? And if it is making a difference in children's lives, how much money should the government invest? So we were funded by the government with sharp questions, and that was, which kinds of experiences are best? How much money do these experiences cost in terms of paying staff insurance, buying paint, buying equipment outdoors, all of the costs. And the government wanted us to look very, very closely at the economics, because the government was thinking about making preschool free, because before that, parents had to pay. And on the basis of Project EPI, in our first report in 2002, the government changed the law to make preschool free for children. In the past, poor children had gone for free because each local commune had made a grant for these children to go, and rich children went because their parents paid. But on the basis of the results that I will show you, our early results, when we first reported our results at the age of 5. So we then studied the original EPI children. We studied them when they went to into the kindergarten at age 5, because age 5 had always been free. What had not been free was 3-year-old and 4-year-old. So there has always been preschool for free at age 5. So we studied the children at age 5. We then studied them at age 7. And we then studied them at age 11. By then, our children were in 1,000 schools across the country, and we had to visit all of these schools. The children had some tests, but also they had interviews with their families, interviews with their teachers, and their teachers at the age of 5 and 7 and 11 filled out profiles, quantitative rating scales on the children's concentration ability, on their sociability with their friends, on their antisocial behavior, and on their hyperactivity. So we have, what I will speak to you about today is 3,000 children, and we have information collected many, many times over the course of development to see which children are doing very, very well, which children are not doing well. And our outcomes are the English language, mathematics, peer sociability, getting on with other children, antisocial behavior, hyperactivity, and the capacity to concentrate. So we have language measures, cognitive measures, social measures, and emotional measures. We want to see which kinds of early experiences are associated with more gains and better development at the age of 11. Our theoretical model is the work of Yuri Bronfenbrenner from the United States, who puts the child at the middle. This will be the child's gender. It's a boy or a girl. It will be the health of the status of the child. We collect information on all of the factors which are individual factors. We then collect information on the family, and that will be the education of the parents, the occupations of the parents, and also the home learning environment, all of the activities of the parents and the home that are stimulating the child's development. We then collect information from preschool settings. The green is the preschool. And we also collect information about the neighborhood. So EPI is asking questions, which of these, which of these factors has the biggest influence on the development of the child? So the child factors will be gender, birth weight, for example. The family factors, education, occupation. The home learning environment. Do they read to the child? Do they take the child to the science museum on Saturday? We study the effect of the preschool. What was the quality? What was the teacher-child ratio? We also study the effect of the primary school. What kind of teaching did the child have in primary school? And in secondary school, we are now reporting on secondary school, but I think, Ingrid, when we talked about it, I will just give you the findings at the end of primary school. If I were to come again, I will tell you about secondary school. Okay, these are the outcomes: English, mathematics, tested at age 7 and at age 11. Social behavior, we have self-regulation. And here's an example of the item that the teachers fill out. This child likes to work things out for himself, is independent learner. Prosocial is considerate of other people's feelings. Hyperactivity, the child is restless, cannot stay still for long. And antisocial, the child bullies other children. So these are just some of the items in our social and behavioral profile. Sources of data: child assessments, child and family background, interviews with all the parents. We interviewed the parents when the child was 4 years old, and after that we sent questionnaires to the parents. They could reply by post or they could use a web-based survey. We have case studies of the preschool settings where children did very well. We're especially interested in the qualitative information from settings where children did very well. And we have observation of 141 randomly selected settings to assess the quality, the pedagogical quality and the curriculum. We have a home learning index. This is the way we studied the family contribution to the child. It will be reading with the child, painting and drawing, library, playing with letters, teaching the alphabet, teaching numbers and shapes, and songs and nursery rhymes. These are the aspects of home learning that we studied. And I'll go back, if I can go back. Yeah. Because we wanted to see what are the effects of these preschools, nursery classes, playgroups, daycare. In order to study the effect of the preschool, we had first to take account the effect of learning at home. So we say that EPI is a value-added study, and value-add means we look at the effect of educational experience after we have already controlled for the home learning, and child factors such as gender or birth weight. So when I say to you that we have found in the UK that preschool quality has a lasting effect on children at the age of 11 years or 14 years, I have already taken into account the effect of the family characteristics and the home environment. Because in order to establish the effect of education, you must partial out the effect of the family experiences and the parents. Okay, now, this is the effect. Before we get to preschool effects, I want to show you the effects of the home, because we must take account of learning in the home before we can establish quantitatively the effect of learning in the school. Is that clear? So this is the effect of learning at home. We have a scale of the richness of the home learning environment, and it's a scale that goes from 7 to 49. And here we have, this is the effect size on mathematics at age 10. So the outcome is maths at age 10. And we're looking at the effect of the home learning environment when the child was 3 and 4. And this is the how well children do in mathematics if they had a very, very low quality home learning environment. It's a score of 14 to 19. This is a very unstimulating home. There are very few books, the child is not read to, there's no opportunity for painting and drawing in the home. Many of our immigrant families scored in this level. And this is the child's mathematics scores. The mean for this whole group was 0.21. These are children who have a moderate home learning environment. And you see the effect is the same. Here, we have children who have what we might call a good learning environment at home. And this is how well they do on maths. For those of you who are statisticians, these are effect sizes after we have partial covaried the home learning environment, after we've covaried the occupation of the parents, the education of the parents, the gender of the child, the birth weight of the child. So these are net effects. This is a good home learning environment, and this is an excellent home learning environment. So the home learning environment has a very, very large impact on mathematics. Because I don't have time to talk to you about a 15-year study in detail, I've chosen just a few outcomes, a few slides. Now, here is a qualitative case study from the work of Iram Siraj Blatchford, and these are some things that the parents told us. You looked at the quantitative results of the home learning on children's mathematics development. Now we're going to hear some parents talking about what they did at home. Here is an ethnic minority, the ethnic minority child whose name is Danila. It's not her real name. And here's her parent. Danila, in our study, began with very, very low English, rather low mathematics. She was quite withdrawn in the preschool. And Danila, over the course of many years, became stronger and stronger, both academically and also as a leader, as a lead child, a child who really was quite firm in putting forward her own views. Here's Danila's father and what he said. We did our best because it was, well, always when Danila was born, I was a bus driver. So I was always there swapping shifts to be at home in the evenings. And if I wasn't there, the mum was always there. So we feel we've done well. Danila's father really encouraged Danila. He was home at night so he could talk to her after school. Danila's mother said, well, I did most of the thing, but if I'm at work, then she would do it, her homework, in the evenings. Most times I always try, but he, the father, will be there, you know, sitting down with them. If I'm in the kitchen, he will help them out with their studies and reading and stuff. And when I'm free, I will join them as well. The home learning environment for Danila was good. It was not excellent, but it was good. Now, why, with such committed parents, did Danila not have an excellent home learning environment? I'll show you the next excerpt. This is from Lorraine, who is a working class girl. She is an English girl, and she lived at home with her mother. Her mother was a single mother. In the family there were a few children and the mother. And Lorraine is telling us about her home learning environment when she was at preschool. She said, I didn't know the sounds of the letters, the sounds. I knew how to say them, like A, B, C, but I didn't know A, B, K, the phonological sound of each letter, because that's what they were teaching. And that's what the preschool tried to teach me. But my mum had taught me A, B, C, D, E, F. And Danila, so I had to get used to a totally new thing. Danila's mother wanted very much to help Danila with school. Danila's mother spoke English. She was a native English speaker. But Danila's mother taught her, we have an alphabet song in English where you sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You must have something in Swedish. But Danila's mother did not teach her, duh, your name is Danila. Let's write Danila and look at this letter. Let's sound this letter. She didn't call it D. She said duh. N. And middle-class parents parents who had better education, they were teaching children at home the sounds of the English language. So Danila had a mother who read to her, but she read to her storybooks, because Danila's, and storybooks are very good, but Danila's mother did not read what we call information books. I read to my children storybooks, but I also read them stories about airports, about animals. And Danila's mother knew that Danila loved stories, so she read stories. So that when Danila got to school, she was not really as well prepared for school as were other children who had a richer home learning environment. So the home learning environment is very important, but the preschool makes a big difference as well. Does preschool attendance matter at the age of 7? So now I will show you a graph about children's test scores when they are age 7, and we're going to look at the influence of preschool and the family, both, at the age of 7. When children are 7 in England, they have their first assessment. They're assessed in reading and mathematics across the country. Every child has the same assessment. It's an assessment that is very coarse. A child can get a level 1, which is not satisfactory, a level 2, which is satisfactory, a level 3, which is good, or a level 4, which is excellent. And below a level 1, we have another level, which we say the child is making progress, but below. So imagine a score that goes from 0 to 5, and here I have plotted reading, just reading, and I'm looking at reading in relation to the parent's occupation, and also in relation to whether the child attended preschool or not. This is 3,000 children. Here, these are the children who went to preschool, and these are the children who didn't. These are the children whose parents are professional, doctors, lawyers, teachers. These are the parents of skilled workers, highly skilled worker, like electrician, yes? And these are the children whose parents were either unemployed or had low-skilled jobs, factory worker, cleaner. And you see that the children who went to preschool, this is their score on the 7-year-old reading test. And you see that the children who had professional parents did very, very well. Here is the passing grade. The children the average score is almost 3 if the parents are professional and the children went to preschool. Here is the intermediate occupational level. The average score is, this is the minimum. This is what is passing. They're doing very well. And these are the preschool children who went to preschool. Their parents have low education, there's low income in the family, but you see the children who went to preschool are doing very well. These are the children who didn't go to preschool. So if your mother is a doctor, and you have not been to preschool, you still do very well. If your mother is a manager in an office, you still do very well. But if your mother is a factory worker or a cleaner and you did not go to preschool, you are below the minimum level that's needed. And we reported this graph, and this is for reading, and this is for writing. And we have mathematics, we have everything. We reported this to Parliament in 2002. And we said, for the poorest families, if the children do not go to preschool at the age of 7, they go on, our second stage of education begins at 7. We have Key Stage 1, which is 6 and 7. We have Key Stage 2, which is 8, 9, 10, and 11. The children are going on into the second stage of education, and they do not have the skills in English to really learn the curriculum. And in 2003, the government changed the law and made preschool free for all children, for 3 and 4, and on the basis of EPI findings. Now, does preschool quality matter? Now we will look at age 11. But first we have to look at what is quality. Okay. We use an observation rating scale. We spend 1 day in every preschool, and we assess the quality of the space and furnishings, the personal care, quality for language development of children, interaction with others, the structure of the program, and the quality of the provision for the parents as well, the families. We also assess the quality for literacy activities, maths activities, science activities, and diversity. This scale, which is an American scale, is very oriented to the whole child approach. This scale, which is a scale that we invented in England, is oriented to the academic activities and academic learning. So we often say that this scale is the academic provision. And when I say academic, my good friend Lillian Katz is always criticizing me. I do not mean formal teaching. And I'll show you how we assess the quality of the pedagogy and the curriculum for children's learning literacy skills, numeracy skills. I will give you examples. Okay. Now, we don't have time because I am trying to go slowly through it. This is the way we assess the quality of the care routines, and this one is how we greet children when they come in the morning and how we say goodbye. I won't go into all the detail except to say that 1 is inadequate and 7 is excellent. But this is how we assess the quality of literacy. This is the quality in the preschool of the literacy activities, the literacy activities. And here, a minimum, this item, there are 60 items in our rating scale for quality. This is only one item, and it's the quality of provision in the preschool for children's phonological skill. How well? So this one is on sounds in words. They get a 1, inadequate, if they do not have rhymes and poems. It's very, very rare not to have rhymes, and that is inadequate. But I'll look just at the excellent. Here we have, this is one of the indicators that we look for when we are making this assessment. Attention is paid to syllables in words. And when I say that this is a learning activity, and I call it an academic activity, which I know the Swedes will not like, it is not children are sat down in rows to have worksheets. This is an academic activity, but the game is called hearing the sounds in words. And just, you might, one game we play is to clap the syllables in your name. I will clap for me, Kathy, Sylva. I will clap for Ingrid, Ingrid Pramling. This is a game, the children enjoy it, but they are learning an academic skill of syllables in words. Lorraine, the working class girl, her mother didn't ever think about syllables in words. She read her stories, but she didn't think about syllables, and she didn't think that Kathy is K in the beginning, Ingrid is in the beginning, and Ingrid is D in the end. And these are the kinds of activities that a preschool center getting a high score had activities for syllables. And here's another one, which is some attention in the preschool is given to linking sounds and letters in the preschool when children are 4 years old. Okay, this is science, and I don't have time to do it. In this item, we rate how good the preschool center is in teaching science through cooking. And I'll just give you one example of the 7. a variety of cooking activities in which all children take part. And here, this indicator is the staff encourage discussion on the process of food preparation and ask children questions. I give you just one example. In a preschool, 2 years ago in the summer, the children made ice cubes. You know, with flavor, they had flavor in the ice cubes. And then the next day, they made clear water ice cubes in the freezer because it was summer. And they took out bowls of ice into the garden. And they put one bowl underneath a tree in the shade. They put one bowl in the sunshine. And they went to check to see what would happen. And they make drawings of what happened. They did an experiment in science to see heat and what heat does to frozen water. Another example from the preschool, children were making sandwiches, and they had cheese, and the teacher had the sharp knife to cut the cheese. The children were buttering the bread. They had children's knives, and they had a discussion. Why do you need a sharp knife to cut the cheese, but you can have a blunt knife to spread the butter? And this is an example to me of an academic activity. It's not sitting down and having worksheets, but it is using every minute of the day, every activity for the children's academic knowledge in science, in mathematics, and in English. And to get high scores on this assessment, children, the activities are not teacher-direct, they are teacher-led. There is a difference between teacher-directed and teacher-led. These activities are teacher-led, okay? In Sweden, there are many studies. I know Ingrid and her students do studies all the time for the development of scientific thinking. Okay, now we then reported this to the government in 2005. This is the effect of the training of the teacher, the qualification, the training of the teacher on the quality of the preschool. This is the EPPSE, which is the academic rating scale. Now, 141 centers, and they have all been rated on quality. And now we're going to see if the teacher training makes a difference, okay? This is literacy, provision, mathematics, science, and this is diversity. In England, we have 3 levels of teacher training. We have one level, which is girls, all girls, study it between the ages of 16 and 18. And they get a qualification, it is called level 2. So they're still in the high school and they study it. We then have a qualification where they go to university for 1 or 2 years, which is level 4. And we have a qualification which is 4 years of university education. Does it make a difference in the quality in the preschools? All right? This is the qualification of the lead person in the room, not the director, the lead teacher in the room. Okay. This is level 2, and they get a score of, average score of 3 in quality. This is level 4, and this is the quality in all those centers where the teachers had a 4-year university degree. This is mathematics, this is science, and this is diversity. So we presented this to the government in 2004, and randomly selected settings looking at the effect of the qualification of the lead teacher. And then in 2006, the government had a big program where they trained teachers. They took preschool teachers who had level 2 and they trained them either to level 3 or they supported them to go to university because of this result. Okay, now we look at the effect of quality on children's mathematics. 3 minutes? Yep, mathematics and English. And you see this is low quality. These are all the children at the age of 11 in English, red. This is medium quality, and this is high quality. So the quality of the preschool makes a difference on children's test scores. The green was mathematics. Okay? Now, I will look just at this. This is the effect of the quality of the preschool on the self-regulation of the child at the age of 11. EPI looks not just at academic outcomes, we also look at social and behavioral. This is the capacity to concentrate. And here you see medium quality, low quality, medium quality, high quality. Low quality, medium quality, high quality. The interesting thing in this graph is low quality had no effect. So the children who went to low quality centers, they might as well have stayed at home. There was no effect. And I'll show you the next, which is antisocial behavior. This is a bad thing. We don't want this. And so it's negative, it goes down. These are the children in low quality, medium quality, high, low quality, medium quality, high. And again, there is no difference here between low quality and staying at home. So for many outcomes, the low quality had no impact at all at the age of 11. So we presented these results to the government 3 years ago, and they now have many initiatives with funding to improve the quality, because low quality settings it's a waste of money. It is unethical to pay taxpayers' money for something that doesn't work. We can talk ethics later. Now, this is the last slide, and I know I have half a minute left. I have a few seconds. This is not looking just at test scores. This is looking at the amount of progress children make between the age of 7 and 11. When EPI began, this is the last slide, 15 years ago, we sat around the table and we made predictions. What might we find? And Ted Mellowish, who's a good colleague of mine, he said, well, I think we will find that preschool, when the children get to school, when they enter school, they will do better if they've been at preschool. And they will hold on to that gain. So the effect of preschool will be to make a better profile at entry, and you will hold on to that gain. Some people thought it would fade because the other children would catch up, but Ted said no. He said, I think they will hold on to this gain, and they have till age 11. But Iram Siraj Blatchford and I said, no, that's not enough. If preschool is high quality, those children will go on being better learners every year. They will not just be better and hold on to that. They will continue to accelerate. This graph shows that. This is the amount of progress between the age of 7 and 11. So 7 is taken as the baseline score, and we see against where they were at 7 how much they have learned. And there is no effect of going to preschool. Mere attendance has no effect on learning how to learn. Quality has the effect on learning how to learn. And this is the children who went to low quality. They are the same, they're making the same progress as the home children. Going to low quality does not teach you to be a better learner. These are the children who went to medium quality, and these are the children who went to high quality. And both of these groups of children, there are about 1,000 children in each. The children who went to high quality and medium are better learners. They are every year accelerating more. And so we go back to the discussion we had in Gothenburg 20 years ago. Will preschool enable children to be better learners? And this is the first research I think I have seen in the world, first large scale certainly, that has shown high quality nurtures the capacity to be a better learner, to learn how to learn. This is the amount of progress between age 7 and 11. And I'll end, Here we have the model, the early years home learning environment, the preschool, make the child self-regulated and at 5, going on to literacy and to numeracy. So if people want this slide, PowerPoint, I will make it available. Yeah? Okay. And that's the end. So quality fosters the capacity to learn. Okay? End. Yeah.
Please sit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Steffi, for this very interesting presentation. And we have just a few minutes for questions. We have microphones somewhere. If anyone wants to ask a question, please make a sign.
I think there's a website.
Okay. Did you have any bilingual families in this study? Does it affect them negatively, although parents are educated or non-educated?
Ask the question again, I'm sorry.
Bilingual families.
Parenting.
Yeah, where the children speak another language at home.
Yes, we had about 18% bilingual families, and the bilingual results are that children have a lower vocabulary, even at the age of 11, but the test scores are the same. They catch up. Yeah.
Anyone else? No questions about this interesting presentation? Okay.
I know you said you weren't going to talk about your latest findings, but I'm very curious about this.
Age 14?
Yeah. Does this results last?
Yeah. At age 14, we still have a preschool effect, but they have stopped accelerating. So the preschool makes the child a better learner up to age 11, and then from age 11, they hold on to the gain. But at 11, we go to secondary school, and they no longer accelerate faster. So the effect is in the primary school of learning how to learn. The effect, although the gains are held on to, so they're still better at the age of 16. We now study to 18, and we will see. I want to, just on the effects, I know in Sweden you don't do large-scale studies and you don't like quantitative research. Our research has convinced the government to fund teacher training, to fund free education, to fund improvement for quality, and we think that it's important to do quantitative work as well as qualitative work. We think this. And we have been very influential with the government.
Okay. One last question, please.
Hello. Would you dare to have any assumptions about having preschool experiences before 3 years old?
Yes. We studied retrospectively, we interviewed the parents to ask in the past what had happened to the children. We know in our study that beginning at age 2 is probably the best. Below 2, we sometimes, in some of the children, in long day care, are more antisocial. And by the age of 7, below age 2, there are some boys who are more antisocial at 7, but happily by age 11 that effect has washed out. But age 2, there is only good positive effects from age 2, but below age 2, it's not certain.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Once again for a very interesting presentation.
Thank you very